Good morrow, nerds! This week on the LarpHouse, we are revisiting a favorite of yours. So, if you are looking for character creation ideas, or if you're just wondering what makes a character unique, get ready because we are meeting some more LARP characters. As I said last time, showing everyone your LARP character is kind of like showing everyone where your Horcrux is, so keep that in mind, and I just want to take a moment to thank all my nerd friends for sharing this with us. So, thank you, nerds. You will also get to meet another one of my characters who I think you guys will like just as much as you liked Petra. So let's begin.
My name is Erin, and I play Odlin Ramsey, Queen of Ramsey in Dying Kingdoms.
Hi, my name's Shahala, and I play Athera in Dying Kingdoms SoCal.
So my real name is Lisa, and I play in Empty Thrones.
Hi, I'm Brittany. I play this character in Rendalir Remembered.
Hello, my name is Odlin Ramsey, Queen of Clan Ramsey of Kolbaran.
Athera DeLuca von Durenwald, Princess of the Ancient Kingdom of Lethis, and also I'm marrying a knight, so that makes me a lady.
So my name is Rihanna Shari.
Hex.
Samir Khalid.
Lauren Luca.
Normally, half-elves are kind of accepted, mostly, depending on where you go. Sometimes what can happen is that maybe one half of the family doesn't like you, the other half of the family doesn't like you. That happened with mine. I grew up mostly with my human father and kind of seeing my mom sometimes, but not very often.
I grew up in Amberborough. It's mostly wild elves who are the wardens of the forest. So my upbringing was not really affected by me being a half. It was more affected by me being from a clan which had been hunted.
Well, we are incredibly religious. We worship the god Tolkien. Mon is the one true god. Everyone else is misguided.
So the elves are a lot different than humans are. They are more interested in art and culture.
I don't know much of my race. I was sold at a very early age as a slave. I have met very few others of my kind.
I am Venaya. We are raiders, mostly. I mean, we used to be. Now we mostly are mercenaries and we fight.
I'm a warden. It means that I get to protect all the history and all this beautiful background and story and lore about elves.
Somehow I am now a queen, so I'm in charge of a lot of people. They call me Odlin the Just.
I am a sword master, of course.
That's a loaded question. I'm in the adult community as
I am a defender. I guard the walls of Montique from any invasion.
I am a professional courtesan. I now actually produce visions within people's heads.
If you have someone you want an axe between their shoulder blades, I can get it there.
So I actually sought them out. I went looking for them, I found them, and then I told them that I needed heroes to help find my dad. And then they all started laughing at me and saying that they weren't heroes. And so then they basically said they'd take care of me if I stuck with them and they'd help me look for my dad.
And somehow we all got trapped back in time. I ended up saving members of my family and thus reviving my clan and inheriting a lot of responsibility, which led to me traveling to different places in the world.
One of the Petrovs came to Zengresh and she told us that Tellus was safe again for the elves. We weren't sure that we believed her. A few of us were sent across to find out.
A couple of my closer friends and acquaintances were heading off and I asked to leave with them to defend them from the dangers of the world.
And adventure found me. Next thing I knew, that I was traveling along with a fellow group. We happened to be heading the same way. And they needed someone who had some knowledge of medical skill.
To make a long story short, I was in love, and then love was murdered by a couple of guys who just thought that I picked the wrong one, right? They were super upset about that. They did not like it. Disagreed with my choice strongly, so they murdered him. They drowned him because that's what you do, right?
There isn't a black and white sense of good and evil. I think that we strive to be good, but everybody does that in their own eyes. So somebody who we think is a bad guy and somebody who's running around hurting people thinks they're being good.
Good is basically whatever makes things prosperous for the most of the majority.
Good and evil. I believe there's a balance. You have your good, you have your evil, and there's a little gray in between.
Good and evil is relatively black and white. You either follow the light or you don't.
Good and evil are grays. All shades of grays.
I think that bad things happen to good people, and that is how evil is formed.
I've never understood it, but I know it's useful for stuff.
When I was young, my teacher, Mad Morag, she would hide coin in jars, and we would bury the jars in case we needed it, because my teacher was insane.
Those who are blessed by Torquin, it can be shown in a number of ways. One of those ways is typically material wealth.
It comes and goes. Who cares, really?
I really just want to find my parents again. They've been gone for a long time, and I really miss them, and I want to find them.
Typically now I have to start thinking about legacy, which means I have to have a child. Yes, I'm going to have a baby. Probably. Don't tell anyone.
My brother and I were separated when I went across to Singresh, and I'm hoping that he's still alive.
Just getting by with my husband and my kids.
Breaking the curse that was put upon my family.
I actually achieved my final goals recently. I have learned to offer gifts and visions and thoughts and feelings to others.
No, I don't really have any long-term goals. I don't imagine I will live very long past the blood eagling of 4 men who did not directly murder someone. I don't imagine that my people will really let that fly. They're all very sort of important. I don't give a fuck.
Having a really big, pretty garden, and having like a cat, and a couple dogs, and staying and having a really nice, pretty house in the forest with my knight and the kids.
I don't see myself retiring because of that. I see myself starting an adventure when I find him.
Not the job I have now.
I will likely cleanse myself of any sins I commit and hopefully retire and live a peaceful life. Perhaps run my parents' shop.
I want to train other courtesans, train other entertainers to bring love and joy and hope.
I mean, assuming of course that I get to rip out the lungs of the men who murdered my love, I will probably end up just having a lot of cats.
I like to read, and I like to write a lot.
I like tricking people sometimes into doing things, making hard decisions, because there's a little bit of fable in me.
Hobbies would imply free time, which I don't have. My family's being tortured in Shingrash, and my brother's missing.
I knit. I sew.
Well, aside from writing poetry, I do sing for morning mass.
I actually spend a little bit of time woodworking.
I like to write. I wanted to be a skald, which is like a warrior poet of history. That's kind of what I wanted to do with my life before some assholes decided they were going to murder the man that I was in love with, of course. You know how that can just changes your plans slightly.
So I have a big family not blood related. My pa and my ma, and they're the rulers of Besh.
My father and my mother, they were not married to each other. My mother was married to a Stutellard, and she was banished to a island where there was a lighthouse, and she died. My brother, I was recently reunited after he faked his death, and we found him in a fishing village. Right now, he's working in my kitchens.
And then I've got all of my siblings that are their kids, and then I've got other siblings that aren't their kids.
The elves are mostly in Singresh.
I have Nazareth, and I have Ridley, and I have all these sorts of different people.
Well, there's my husband Jinx, that we've been through everything together. He's one of the lights in my life. And then there's my son, Tobias. He's got a short fuse, very family driven. And then there's our daughter Alice. Very sweet, sweet baby.
Well, and I have aunts and uncles, and I have grandpa.
The witch put a bloodline curse upon my entire family. And how that curse functions is the person that you love the most is going to die in a horrific manner. My parents, Isabella and Armand, I'd say their hearts are in the right place regarding raising me, but misguided. They kept things from me longer than they should have.
And I have grandma, and I have a fiance.
Oh, well, I have two cousins. One is Raven and the other Sparrow. They don't actually know I am their cousin.
So I've got a lot of family.
So my father is the chieftain of the port town Mintaxair, and he wanted a son. He wanted a son very much, and he prayed for a son. And he got 12 daughters, of which I am the oldest. 12.
Yeah. Her name is Petra, and she's really pretty, and she's got lots of hair, and it's always like flying everywhere, and she's got spooky eyes. I didn't know that it was her when I first saw her spooky eyes, so I was going to try to throw her out the room. I wouldn't have been able to because she's a lot stronger than I am, but she's a knight, and she's really tough, and people are scared of her because she runs at them really fast and hits them and does a really good job at it. And we're going to get married soon, and I'm excited, and she's pretty, and I love her so much.
I think my friend Wulad's very special to me. She is also a woman of power in Mirbay.
There's Henry, proper Englishman that you completely expect. All the old English hoopla. Then there's Jinx. And Jinx isn't your average person. There's hoodoo, voodoo, all sorts of crazy things.
They are bold and confident, taught me to be far more assertive than I ever thought I could be.
If there's one for me out there, I've not met them yet.
Anybody special in my life. You know what? If anybody wants to be the special person in my life, step 1 is to fuck off. Step 2 is to thoroughly examine step 1. In fact, if anybody needs any relationship advice, you can happily come to me. I'll usually tell you to kill him is the answer.
I really like sweet things. I can subsist pretty much only off of sugar products.
I love animals. I see them and I just want to squeeze their little faces. I have a puzzle ring. It allows me to speak with animals like once per day, and I get really embarrassed if people are around and I use it.
When I was young, I used to dance with the Spring Fae, and at some point I got infused with the Spring Fae magic. And the reason that my hair is this color is because of the Spring Fae.
I like Disney movies.
I write poetry. It's mostly religious poetry.
I change shape. Part of my talent that I've grown is to be able to become what people want.
I don't like magic. I think it's strange. It kind of freaks me out.
This brooch right here, it helps me disappear when things get bad.
A dagger in my boot. Always have a dagger in your boot.
My armor.
These are the teeth of men. Who thought that would make them a pretty wife? Well, there you have it, nerds. Another batch of truly unique characters. And a thought has occurred to me. You guys seem to really like Petra, like a whole lot. Some of you even asked to see more of her. And Thorin is my crappy teenage Viking character who I love just as much. So, to show my appreciation, I am going to basically start an advice column. You can ask advice from Thorin, the violent teenage Viking princess, or Petra, your friendly neighborhood death knight. You can ask them anything. Relationship advice, important life decisions, how to best enact your revenge catered to a specific situation. We will pick our favorite questions and Petra and Thorin will answer them, which could only lead to disaster and hilarity. So submit your questions in the comments. If you like what you see on our show and you want to see more, please consider making a small pledge to us on our Patreon page because we do need money to do the science and that would be super cool of you. Or mosey on down to our Etsy store if you like handmade props and prosthetics. If you have any questions, comments, emotional outbursts, please feel free to message us. We are on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and Instagram. And as always, nerds, like us, subscribe to us, fight with us.
On.
Saved it.